The nightmare. I don't know about you, but the only thing nightmarish about this bloke is his neck posture. Bro needs to see a blade chiropractor ASAP. I mean, just look at it. Welcome back to another video. It's Simon here, and today we're going to be talking about Freddy Krueger's recent rework that he underwent in January. I know I'm a little bit late to this, but I've finally gotten around to making this video. Now, if you're unaware, in January, Freddy had an entire kit change, changing the way that he uses dream snares, dream pallets, and his teleportation in the dream world, making him a more enjoyable killer to play as or play against. That's my personal opinion. As you can see, Freddy Krueger's new power is so big it doesn't even fit on the screen. So let's get into it and talk about the new power. Okay, so the recent rework Freddy has been given regarding his dream snares and his ability has changed quite a bit. The first big change that behaviour has made is moved his movement speed from 4.4 to 4.6 meters per second, so he is no longer a slow killer, or what would be considered a slow killer. In turn, instead of having to place dream snares down, you now have the ability to shoot them forward as a projectile. You also have dream pallets at base kit. Now, these changes are definitely for the better, because previously you had to place dream snares down in strategic spots and in certain areas of loops to get survivors to run through them. Survivors could easily avoid the old dream snares by just running around them or running to a different loop. So having the ability to shoot them forward has definitely changed Freddy's kit from top to bottom. The projectiles can be shot in any direction and they follow in the distance of the map. So for instance, if you're going upstairs, the dream snare will also go upstairs. If you're going downstairs, the dream snare will also go downstairs. But they cannot be shot off the side of ledges or cliffs. If they are shot in any direction that leads to the edge of a cliff or the edge of a building, they will just stop immediately. The other ability Freddy has been given is the ability to use dream pallets at base kit. Previously, you had to have an add-on that would allow you to use dream pallets, but if you brought this add-on, it would remove the ability to use dream snares. These changes are definitely for the better, because it just makes Freddy much more enjoyable to play. Being able to use dream snares as a projectile helps slow down the survivors and close distance between them. If the survivor is not in the dream world, however, instead of being slowed down, they will just have time added to their dream timer, which means they will most likely fall asleep quicker. This also goes for dream pallets as well, because dream pallets have been given a new function. They can be ruptured and injure survivors, but they can only injure survivors if they are in the dream world. So, that being said, if a ruptured pallet hits a survivor and they're not in the dream world, they will just have 60 seconds added to their dream timer, making them fall asleep quicker. Freddy has also received some changes in regarding to his teleportation. So if you remember old Freddy's kit, he had the ability to teleport to generators and that was it. He could only teleport to generators that weren't complete though. So if a generator was complete, he couldn't teleport to them. With these new improvements, Freddy's teleportation is no longer limited to active generators. He can now teleport to complete, blocked and endgame generators, as well as survivors who are actively healing in the dream world. Now, Freddy's ability to teleport to healing survivors can only take place in the dream world, as I mentioned. So what does this actually mean? So when a survivor is in the dream world and they are injured and another survivor is healing them, Freddy will see their aura. So he essentially has nurses calling at base kit, but he cannot teleport to them from across the map. He has to be within a certain distance of the healing survivor to teleport to them. When the survivor is healing and he is within that certain distance, a killer instinct will start to flash. This will give you the ability to teleport to the survivor. Now, if you cancel the teleport halfway through, you will have to wait for it to go off its cooldown before you can teleport to a survivor or a generator again. So you can't actively teleport to a survivor, then teleport to a generator. That goes on a cooldown regardless of which way you teleport. This means that you can teleport to a generator and then you'll have to wait for the power to come off its cooldown cooldown before you can teleport to a healing survivor. Overviewing what you can now do as Freddy Krueger, you can now teleport to healing survivors, generators that are blocked or completed. You can also project dream snares forward to slow survivors down or add time to their dream timer. You can use ruptured pellets to injure survivors or put time on their dream timer as well. Now, a lot of people will be seeing you and thinking, how am I meant to beat Freddy now that he has all these unique abilities? I mean, it's going to be practically impossible. Well, there is one drawback to Freddy's power that makes it completely voided out: staying awake. Survivors have the ability to use alarm clocks placed around the map. Now, previously, survivors could only use one alarm clock. Now, they can use any alarm clock they would like to pull themselves out of the dream state. The alarm clocks do go on a cooldown after they've been used, so you can't use the same alarm clock over and over and over again. So that is the way that you want to kind of negate Freddy's power, is just to stay out of the dream state. As you can see here, loops like Killer Shack with dream pellets are extremely powerful. We use Bamboozle to block the window. Jake runs in. He has no option but to run through the dream pallet, and he is put down with the dream pallet. If he wasn't in the dream world, he would have just had timer added to his dream timer, and he possibly would have been pulled into the dream world. Staying awake is definitely something that you will need to do to avoid Freddy's power. Now, like I said, the alarm clocks do go on a cooldown after they have been used, so they go on a 45-second cooldown and cannot be used again. They will have to use a different alarm clock if it hasn't come off cooldown. This stops survivors from obviously camping alarm clocks and continuously using them over and over again. The other slight change that Freddy has been given, as you can see when we teleport, we see a little white aura of Freddy Krueger and where he's teleporting to. This gives you a bit of an idea of where you're going to land on the map once the teleport has gone through. The same thing happens when you're teleporting to a survivor as well. It will show a white aura. Teleporting to healing survivors, Freddy has to teleport a distance away from them. So as you can see here, these survivors are healing, but we're not going to teleport directly on top of them. The distance that you teleport to survivors that are healing is bigger than what Pinhead's teleportation is for when survivors are using the laminate configuration. So there is quite a bit of distance that you will need to make up. So obviously, for gameplay reasons, you can't teleport directly on top of survivors, because otherwise that would just be extremely unfair and survivors would have no way of healing or making distance away from Freddy. That is the only real change to the teleportation. Apart from that, Freddy's overall rework has been a definite improvement, and in my opinion it is a much needed one. Obviously, Freddy's power and how you used to play as him could be very unenjoyable, just because if survivors knew how to maneuver around the dream snares, that would make that entire power useless, and the only real thing that you had going for yourself was the dream protection. With these new abilities, it gives Freddy a unique way of playing. Figuring out how to use the pellets will take a bit of time because there is timing required. The dream pellets rupture after 1.5 seconds of being activated, so they don't rupture immediately, and they have a 3-meter radius as well. When teleporting to survivors or generators, you will also notice that Freddy will sort of have this, I'd say, dream energy blast circle. If a survivor is within that circle, they will be revealed by Killer Instinct. The only other slight change to Freddy's power is the improved visuals of the dream world. Now, not a lot of people will notice the difference. Me personally, I certainly did. The dream world is much clearer than it was before and is easier to navigate for both survivors and killers. This is a definite improvement over what it was before. Now, a lot of people may consider that Freddy's power to teleport to generators during the endgame might be considered unfair, and there's a definite argument behind this, because if you're in a situation where there is only one survivor left, the hatch has been closed, and there is a generator near the exit gate, it can be very easy for Freddy to maintain and keep eyes on those exit gates. So whether this ability stays in the game for the future is something to be questioned. Behaviour may remove the ability to teleport to generators during the endgame, or they may not. It's not overly powerful because, again, Freddy can only teleport within certain times. He can't teleport to the same spot over and over again because the teleport goes on cooldown. But it still is something to be questioned, because if there is a generator right near the exit gate, Freddy can easily just maneuver around each exit gate during the endgame collapse. Overall, I think the improvements the behaviour has given to Freddy Krueger are definitely a much needed, as he's more enjoyable to play now, and the ability just to use his power in so many unique ways just makes him more fun and more enjoyable for both killers and survivors. Me personally, I love playing against the new Freddy because now you have to be on your toes at all times, depending on the loadout that they run, of course. My personal favourite build to run with the new Freddy is Scorch Hook Pain Resonance, Jolt, Bamboozled and Dead Man Switch. This kit allows you to essentially hook survivors on Scorch Hook, the generator becomes blocked, and then you can instantly teleport to it. Jolt is always an essential perk to run on Freddy Krueger, mainly because he's just an M1 killer, so he doesn't actually have a special ability that he can use to down survivors. Like with the nurse, she has the ability to blink, but if you run Jolt on her and you down a survivor with a blink, it won't actually activate Jolt. Jolt has the ability to damage generators within 32 meters of the survivor being downed. The generator will lose 8% of its total progress. Now, when a generator has been fully repaired, you will see that the generator will be highlighted white instead of the traditional red. This obviously tells you which ones have been repaired and which ones haven't been repaired. Now, Bamboozle is definitely a perk that you want to run on Freddy, mainly because the ability to shut down the windows and force survivors to run through dream pallets to hopefully injure them. Now, the final changes that have been made to Freddy's kit is his two perks, Fire Up and Remember Me. The stackable speed bonus per completed generator was raised from 3, 3.5 or 4 to 4, 5 or 6% depending on which tier perk you have. So if you have a tier 1, it's 4%. If you have a tier 2, it's 5. If you have a tier 3, it's 6%. This action applies to picking up survivors, dropping survivors, faulting windows, damaging generators, breaking pallets and breakable walls. In addition to Fire Up, Remember Me has also had a buff. The perk now grants 1 token each time the accession loses a health state, up to a maximum of 3, 4 or 5 tokens. Previously it was 2, 3 or 4. Each token increases the time required to open the exit gates by 6 seconds, up to a maximum of 30 seconds, 24 or 18, depending on which perk you have again. Previously it was 12 seconds, 18 or 24. So if you have a tier 3 perk, it's now 30 seconds. If you have a tier 2, it's 24. If you have a tier 1, it's 18 seconds, which is a definite improvement to Freddy's Remember Me perk. Just keep in mind that this perk only applies to survivors who aren't the Obsession. So if the Obsession opens the exit gate, it will still open at the regular amount of time. And be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of Freddy's new power and what you would change or what you think should be changed. Me personally, I think that Freddy's new power makes him more enjoyable to play against and play as. It is a definite improvement over old Freddy. Thank you for watching this video. Please take the time to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.